In the late summer of 490 BC, on a dusty plain 26 miles from Athens, 10,000 men stood between their homeland and an empire that had never lost a war. This is not just a story about a battle. It is a story about a farmer named Timon, who left his fields to pick up a spear. For years, whispers had traveled across the Aegean Sea. The Persian Empire, ruled by the great King Darius I, stretched from India to the edges of Europe. The revolt was crushed, but Darius did not forget. He wanted two things now: submission and revenge. In the spring of 490 BC, a Persian fleet of about 600 ships set sail across the sea. They burned Eretria to the ground, enslaving its people, and then turned their eyes toward Athens. They landed their army, some estimates say around 20,000 soldiers, on the flat coastal plain of Marathon. Now, let's meet Timon. Timon was 41 years old, a farmer from the hills outside Athens, who grew olives and grapes. His wife, Calira, and his two sons stayed behind in their farmhouse, watching him disappear down the dirt road with a shield on his back. That shield was called an aspis. It weighed close to 7 kilograms and covered a man from chin to knee. The aspis did not just protect its bearer, it protected the man standing to his left. A phalanx only worked if every man trusted the stranger beside him with his life. Historians believe this is exactly why the best and bravest fighters were placed on that vulnerable flank. When the Athenian army arrived at Marathon, they found the Persians already camped on the plain below, near the sea. For 8 days, nothing happened. Both armies simply watched each other. A runner named Phidippides had already been sent sprinting toward Sparta, a distance of about 240 kilometers. He is said to have covered that ground in under 2 days, arriving to find the Spartans in the middle of a religious festival, the Carneia. The Spartans promised to come as soon as the festival ended, in about 6 days, 6 days that might not exist. A tiny town, facing annihilation themselves if Athens fell, still sending every fighting man they had. 10 generals commanded the army, 1 from each tribe, and they were split evenly, 5 wanting to attack immediately, 5 wanting to wait. The tie was broken by a man named Miltiades. He convinced the war archon, a man named Callimachus, to cast the deciding vote for battle. Because on the morning the Athenians finally moved, something happened. The Persian cavalry, the very thing the Athenians feared most, was gone from the field. Miltiades saw his chance and gave the order to attack in a stroke of tactical brilliance. Picture it now. Timon standing in the line, the weight of his shield already aching in his shoulder. He weakened the center of the Greek line, stretching it thin, while reinforcing both flanks with extra depth. The order came to advance, and then something almost unheard of in ancient warfare happened. The Greeks began to run. Timon would have felt his lungs burning, his legs screaming, and then the collision, the crash of the phalanx into the Persian line. The Greek center buckled and gave ground under the pressure of the elite Persian troops. The flanks, reinforced and disciplined, crushed the weaker Persian wings on either side. The Greek flanks turned inward, wheeling to attack the flanks and rear of the strong Persian center. Panic broke the Persian ranks. Thousands ran for their ships. It was here, in the shallow surf, that some of the fiercest and bloodiest fighting of the entire day occurred. Aeschylus, who fought at Marathon himself, later wrote of his own brother, Cynaegirus, who grabbed hold of a fleeing Persian ship with his bare hand. By the time the sun set, Herodotus recorded that 6,400 Persians lay dead on the plain and along the shore. The Athenians and their Plataean allies lost 192 men. The Athenians instead buried their own on the battlefield itself, in a mass grave, a mound of earth called the Soros. Every one of those 192 men had a name, a family, a trade, men who 3 weeks earlier had been pruning vines or repairing roof tiles. Someone on the Greek side was suspected of raising a polished bronze shield on a hillside as a signal. flashing sunlight toward the retreating Persian fleet. Miltiades understood the danger immediately, and force marched his battered, bleeding, bone-tired army the entire distance back to Athens that same day, arriving in time to be seen standing on the shore as Persian ships approached the following morning. The Persian fleet turned around and sailed home. Herodotus never actually claims he ran from Marathon to Athens to announce victory. He is said to have covered about 150 miles. Michel Brial proposed a new race to honor that legendary run. They called it the Marathon. If Persia had crushed Athens that day, the young and fragile experiment of democracy might have been extinguished. Timon's story is fiction. The mound of earth where 192 of his countrymen were buried still exists on that plain today. That is the true weight of Marathon. Not simply a victory paid for, coin by coin, in the lives of men who never wanted to be soldiers,